Question that we are asking is, will Rajnath Singh's second visit to the valley in a month instill confidence in all stakeholders to find the path to peace? And to help us understand the purpose of this visit, its importance, and put it into context for us, we have Praful Ketkar, who is the editor of The Organizer. Thank you very much for being with us. Firstly, the Prime Minister's call for Insaniyat, Kashmiriyat and Jamhuriyat. And then the Prime Minister's statement to that all-party meeting, which is a lasting solution within the framework of the Constitution. This has set the framework basically for what can be done for a solution.
Absolutely. See, we need to understand that before starting for Srinagar today, even the Home Minister made the same statement through his tweet.
That's right.
That everybody is welcome to, have open-minded dialogue within the framework of Insaniyat, Jamhuriyat and Kashmiriyat. It clearly means that the government of India is open-minded to discuss with all the stakeholders of Jammu and Kashmir.
Right.
Whether it is civil society groups, religious groups or political parties, and he has already started the process. But at the same time, he also underlined indirectly that the people who do not believe in the democracy and democratic process,
Right.
they are not part of this dialogue.
Right.
So message is very clear.
Sure. So Jamhuriyat is important.
Yes. See, the whole issue of Jammu Kashmir is, I think, is basically the issue of building right narrative.
Okay.
What has happened, one, because the discussion in the parliament has clearly shown, and all party meeting also, that all political parties are united as far as the national security issue is concerned.
Sure.
There will be no compromise.
Sure.
So that was one message. Secondly, the delegation that came from Jammu and
That's
Kashmir,
right.
all opposition parties, the kind of patient hearing that was given by
the
Prime Minister, they themselves were very happy with that kind of approach. And he talked about the lasting solution. I think that is very important.
Message is the lasting solution. And we know that all the stakeholders are actually working towards that in some way. And we saw General Dalbir Singh also telling the armed forces to exercise maximum restraint. And also the armed forces have already been working to restore confidence in the people. That was also something that they are doing. It's important that the armed forces take a particular stance because, part of they are being blamed in a certain way when they are actually defending the nation.
See, as I said earlier, it is always a game of narrative.
That's right.
See, indirectly, we also many a times say security forces. Now, we need to understand that Burhan Mani operation was not taken by the armed forces. It was by Jammu Kashmir Police.
Right.
SOG. Jammu Kashmir Police, most of them, especially in the valley, they are from, they themselves are Kashmiris.
That's right.
So the role of state government in restoring law and order is very important, and first time this government is ensuring that state government plays that kind of role.
Right.
The recent statements by the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, whether her 15th August address or recently when she said that only 5% are disturbing the whole environment and making the life of 95% miserable.
Right.
This message is also very important coming directly from Jammu and Kashmir.
Absolutely.
So I think this is, we need to make the facts about Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu Kashmir is not just Srinagar Valley.
Right.
Within Kashmir also there are many areas where nationalist voices are very strong.
Absolutely.
Jammu and Ladakh, they also have a strong stakes in this process.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there are certain vested interests, many times supported by Pakistan,
Right.
who want to derail the process of development.
Sure.
And Burhan Mani incident also shows
Sure.
that,
so you say that we should be, media should be reporting the facts at this point of time, and we need to understand also, the Kashmiris also need to understand that what is happening in POK, for instance, and in Gilgit-Baltistan, for instance, they need to understand that really at the end of the day, things are much worse on the other side.
See, factually, as we need to build certain narrative within India, rest of India, they need to understand what is Jammu and Kashmir. Many
Right.
times we don't understand that
That's true.
technically Gilgit-Baltistan and Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir,
Yeah.
that is Mirpur Muzaffarabad,
Right.
that is also constitutionally our
Part
areas.
of India, yes.
They are not getting representation for last 68, 69 years.
Right.
Pakistan has denied them the representation.
Right.
According to Pakistani constitution, they are not part of Pakistan.
Right.
Their condition is very miserable. There is no development process. They are denied with the basic right of participation in the political process. So
And-
all these things have to be made very clear.
Sure.
So communication between the rest of India and people of Jammu and Kashmir, telling the right situation about the Pak-occupied Jammu and Kashmir to the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
Sure.
All these three-way communication is very important. The problem of Jammu and Kashmir is not only
Okay.
of land. The problem of Jammu and Kashmir is not only about the people of Jammu and Kashmir, it is about whole India, because Jammu Kashmir or Kashmiriyat, what they are
Yes,
talking about,
yes.
was never
Okay.
represented by radicalism. It
Okay,
was
fair
always
enough.
represented by the
By composite culture, yeah.
composite culture, Sufism,
Right.
Shankaracharya,
Right.
Rishi Kashyap. The Kashmir word itself has come
Right.
from Rishi Kashyap.
Okay.
So all these things have to be narrated properly.
Right.
Now another important thing which is missing, and that education has to play,
Right.
not only political but school education has to play a very important role there.
Right.
The so-called special status and
Yes.
the constitution of Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay.
The constitution of Jammu and Kashmir, Article 3 itself says that Jammu Kashmir is an integral part of India.
Okay. Fair enough.
And that cannot be changed without the consent of the Parliament of
Right,
India.
absolutely.
So this has to be communicated to all these
So these
folks.
facts need to be made known. But also, what is the next step now? When you see that the Home Minister is there, he started a dialogue process with the political parties, civil society groups. He's invited everyone to come and talk to him. There is talk of a three-stage process that maybe there will be an all-party delegation going there next. There's the talk of civil society groups getting together, eminent persons going out, from the state, trying to restore peace, and the clergy also to be involved. A pretty round, all-round approach.
Yes. I think recently, in last, of course, the process started in late 80s itself, but recently the process of radicalization has played a very important role.
Right.
So I think religious leaders can play a critical role in de-radicalization process.
Okay.
And worldwide this is being, taken place. I think this can be a very useful approach, but at the same time, I think this government has taken a very pragmatic pro-development approach
Right,
since
absolutely.
May 2014.
True.
The way, fruits of development reaching to the last man standing,
Absolutely.
even in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, is very critical.
Absolutely.
In Jammu and Kashmir,
Right.
most of them are dependent on
Sure.
tourism.
Yes.
Now, in such situation, can they? What about their employment?
Absolutely.
So, rail projects are going ahead, infrastructure projects are going ahead. So that will naturally create opportunities for them, and I think that will create conducive environment.
We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Ketkar, for being with us here on this discussion.
Hope for the lasting
Yes,
solution.
hope for a lasting solution. Well, moving on.